Welcome back. Today, we're going to learn about a common logical fallacy called the hasty generalization fallacy. Imagine opening a test and seeing a really difficult first question. You might think, this whole test is going to be impossible. That quick conclusion is exactly what we're talking about today. That kind of quick conclusion actually has a name. It's called the hasty generalization fallacy. Let's take a closer look. And at its core, it's actually pretty simple. It happens when we make a big conclusion based on only a small amount of evidence. The key word is hasty. We reach a conclusion too quickly without enough evidence to support it. All right, so let's get into some real life examples because I promise you, once you see this pattern, you are going to start noticing it everywhere. Okay, picture this. You're on a class trip, right? You glance around the bus and you see two students just totally buried in their books. And what's the first thing that pops into your head? Whoa, this must be the smartest class ever. Everyone's so studious. But hang on a second. Two students are reading. That's awesome, for sure. But is that really enough to make a call on the entire class? Nope. You're making a massive generalization from a teeny tiny sample. Or how about this one? Let's say a couple of students do amazingly well on a quiz. They get perfect scores. The teacher's first thought might be, that quiz must have been too easy. But is that the only explanation? Maybe those two students simply studied very hard and were well prepared for the quiz. Let's go back to that first example, the one many of us have experienced before. You get your math test, open it up, and the first question looks incredibly difficult. And right away you think, this whole test is going to be impossible. You're using one difficult question to make a conclusion about the entire test. So, okay, let's dig into the flaw here. What's the actual mistake our brains are making? This is where the mistake happens. The problem is making a judgment about the whole situation based on just one small piece of information. Our brains like quick and easy answers, but one example is usually not enough evidence. In reality, there may be other information that tells a different story. That's why it's important to look at the bigger picture, not just one small part of it. All right, so we've pointed out the problem. And the good news, there's a really simple way to avoid falling into this trap. So, how can we avoid this mistake? The answer is simple. Pause and ask yourself, do I have enough evidence? Before you decide that whole test is impossible, just look at question number 2. Before you label an entire group of people, get a little more information. The key is to avoid making a big conclusion based on only a small amount of evidence. And that's what I want to leave you with. Think about it. What generalization have you made just today? Because honestly, just noticing when we do it, that's the biggest step toward thinking a whole lot clearer.
If you'd like more personalized feedback, writing support, and discussion sessions, they're available with me or with our selected tutors. All the details are here.